Made a Dunkin' run. America runs on Dunkin'.
Ew, I hate Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, we
I
got.
don't think I've ever been to, well, I've been to one because I was like desperate in Chicago, I remember, for coffee. But
Yeah, I mean, I love getting my bitter brew now and again. I try not to, have too much of a dependency on coffee or caffeine, but
yeah,
uh,
I'm too poor that I make hot coffee and then whatever's left over, I put it in a jar and then I have cold coffee the next day.
oh, yeah, I like straight black. And places that do like not even their cold brew, it's just their basic.
Just like iced
That's
coffee.
what they
Yeah.
do basically. It's their previous day's pour or
Yeah.
drip coffee that they've chilled, and I
I
like.
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes cold brew gives me too much of like a high and then also like really bad acid reflux.
yeah,
So I tend to just do either iced coffee route or latte. I
yeah. I used to do
real latte.
the Starbucks cold brew quite a bit during summer times in LA. I would, I mean, I don't do mobile games, so like the point systems and rewards in fast food apps are kind of my version of mobile gaming. Um,
Well, yeah,
so that's why
makes
I
sense.
get suckered into a lot of these, you know,
Yeah.
kind
Elliot is on, so I've been unemployed for a couple of months now,
of,
so because film industry sucks. But Elliot's like, we need to get on this new app that's like it's called Monarch, and it's a budgeting app. So it tracks every single transaction that you have, and then it's like puts it into categories. So you've got like, oh, this month I have $50 for coffee. And then, you go to Starbucks, it's 15 bucks, whatever, then it tracks it. So that's been my mobile gaming is like obsessively categorizing because sometimes the app messes up
mhm.
what like category the transaction is. So I'm on there every day
So much
and
smarter. Yeah.
that's how
Than,
that's been my addiction
than
on my
mobile.
phone lately.
No, and like I get so messed up mentally. Like I just fail to be mindful of all sorts of things, and my mind is prone to an invasive thoughts, kind of like a face hugger in a way. But
Yeah.
no, the just yeah, the deliberateness in which we make those kinds of decisions in life. You're buying coffee or ordering out.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes you just need a tasty little treat, and that is okay. Sometimes just like little sweet treat.
Yeah, no,
All for it.
I just got an espresso at Dunkin' and one of their wraps because there were actually a
Mm.
couple deals I took advantage of today, so it was like they hooked
Yeah.
me with that, but I was also hungry
And
and needed some. Yeah,
Dunkin's pretty inexpensive,
it's the
right? Like yeah.
oh yeah, it's the closest thing to where I work that has this app mobile ordering app.
Oh,
Takes a
yeah.
just takes a second, um,
Right.
and then. Yeah, and the quality of the product ain't great, but like you're not also expected to tip or anything, which is nice. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. That mobile ordering is super handy.
yeah, I think I'll just leave this in the show. This is fun chatting on the Thoughtcast conversations.
Yeah, hey, if anyone needs budgeting tips, coffee tips, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
Philip.
here. No,
Yeah, and yeah, I'm Philip Elke, and I'm joined by my sister Samara in Los Angeles.
hello. Yes.
I'm in northern Minnesota, and we're talking movies today. The Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus, and we're both, I think, fairly healthy fans of the Alien franchise. I remember watching at least one of the films with you in the past. And you kind of took to a lot of the cool like production design and element,
Mhm.
design elements that populate these films, and a lot to talk about there. So it's
Yeah.
a rich text.
Yeah. It's a the franchise, I wouldn't say, I mean, I love sci-fi in general. It's probably like maybe getting a little bit closer to reaching past like typical fantasy for number one of the genres that I love dearly. But Alien, I think it was some holiday when I was visiting, and I think we went through like an Alien franchise watching. But
Mhm.
I only ever maybe remember watching the first one, maybe the second one with you guys.
Okay.
And then other than that, the only other Alien movie I like clearly remember is Prometheus, which when I first saw that, that's when I was like, ooh, Alien movies are super cool. Because I think I even saw it before, right? Like Alien, Alien.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
Same.
which is kind of weird.
Prometheus was my introduction to the Alien franchise, I believe. So, because that came out maybe 2008, 2009, and
Mm,
I was in high school. Just, I think I was probably 17. Well, I turned 17 in what, 2009.
yeah,
Prometheus was 2012. Oh, wow. Okay.
because I remember being a little bit older in high school, and I graduated high school 2015. So yeah, I would have been like 15 or
Yeah.
something. But that movie had an impact on me. I mean, I was like, I thought it was super cool, and um,
I think because we were fairly sheltered. We didn't see a ton of R-rated movies growing up as kids. And when I
and especially
first,
not horror. No,
yeah,
and I would say Alien is maybe it's basically like horror sci-fi. Some people would probably just say like
hmm
thriller sci-fi, but I think it's definitely pretty freaky.
yeah. I mean, Alien Romulus, I think, firmly earns the genre label of horror as well as
Yeah.
by like the genres listed here on IMDb: horror, sci-fi,
Mm,
and thriller. And the original
right.
Alien, of course, was shocking to a lot of people, and it's especially fun hearing about the stories from on set of the actors themselves being pretty shocked at the events.
I, Well, I mean, I would be too when like the film is actually using practical effects. Like that's what I just found out like the other night I was scrolling through TikTok and people were like, "Did you know that that last alien is actually played by a real person and it's this basketball player?" And now I'm like, "Wait, is this true? Is this not?" But his physique is very similar to the final alien, so I'm like, maybe it is played by this. I don't know. I think he's from somewhere in like Central Europe, but yeah, he's
Yeah,
extremely tall. I don't know if you knew that
makes
or
sense.
if
I mean,
that's even real, but
yeah, they've gotten
I'd be terrified if he was practical.
oh yeah, yeah. The kind of the denouement or denouement of the film, is this really kind of freaky sequence. We'll talk more
Yeah, I'm trying not to
later
like spoil, but
at the
like
very end of
just
it.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, yet
But they
go into
have,
spoiler.
yeah, gone like really lanky actors to put in suits for some of the alien performances. And
Hmm.
especially with the first film, that was what they did for the traditional xenomorph. And then in this film, there's a new twist on the xenomorph that
Yeah.
derivative of a couple different things that we've seen previously. Um, and you've never seen Alien Resurrection, which was
Mm-mm.
Joss Whedon wrote it, directed by French director, the guy who made Amelie, and it's set. kind of in the distant future from the previous films. Have you seen Alien 3?
I don't know. I don't think so. And yeah, Alien 3. And these all have Sigourney Weaver, right?
Yep, yep. Sigourney.
Sigourney?
Sigourney, I believe. I don't.
Sigourney.
And
Yeah, Alien 3, I I'm pretty sure I did watch it. I don't remember it very well. And Resurrection, I don't think I saw at all. I think Elliot, my husband, and I were trying to like watch them all in sequence at one point while we were dating, and I don't think we ever finished.
yeah, I'm probably least familiar with actually the most recent one before Romulus, Requiem, Alien Requiem, which direct sequel to Prometheus. And
Oh,
yeah, I think I would appreciate it more going back to it, but seeing it just one time, I don't think was enough for Requiem. But it was I think decent from what I remember. The others I've all seen multiple times, I believe. One through three, I've seen the most, and then I've seen Resurrection a couple times, Prometheus a few times. Yeah, I mean, Prometheus, I think so I would have been in college. We got that on Blu-ray and maybe watched it as a family, which would have been kind of unusual. But we were all
hmm.
a little older. Yeah,
Prometheus, I remember seeing in theaters because
okay.
that was my first. And that opening scene with the like bright, like light, black-eyed alien, I was just like, wait, this doesn't seem like the same alien. What the heck is this?
Yeah.
But I remember being thoroughly spooked. And I was just looking at the release dates of like all of the recent Alien. I don't even remember this Alien Covenant. Did you see Alien Covenant back in 2017?
Oh, that's what.
That one, because that has Fassbender. Because I was like, wait, yeah, there was one more that had Michael Fassbender. And I don't think I ever saw this one.
Yeah, I referred to it
Oh
as
my
Alien
goodness.
Requiem on accident. That's Alien versus Predator. Requiem is one of the Alien versus Predator movies, which I have
Oh,
seen.
okay.
I've seen,
I haven't seen
yeah,
any.
that's sort of a spin-off thing, unrelated to the main Alien films. But
Okay.
I have seen the original Alien versus Predator. I've heard Requiem's not good. Or yeah, or it's
Is
kind
Covenant good? Do
yeah,
people like?
Covenant. hmm Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I should see it. Now I'm like, I've been missing so many alien movies this whole time. For some reason, Romulus, I thought was like kind of a resurgence of like the Alien franchise and that they hadn't made a bunch of movies in a while. But I guess
Yeah,
I'm clearly mistaken. Oops. Oh
Covenant
well. I mean,
was,
it's definitely been a while, but
yeah, it was also Ridley Scott who did Covenant. And I think the problem is like if you were really invested in the conclusion to, what was set up in Prometheus, Covenant it gives some closure to that, but it is a little bit unsatisfying, I think, for fans of Prometheus. And
mhm.
Prometheus wasn't fully well received upon its release by like Alien fans and stuff. Um, I think it was generally positively reviewed by critics, but it's a little bit of a bizarre film and some bizarre creative choices. There's also Ridley Scott's return to the franchise. Ridley Scott, of course, directed the original Alien. James Cameron
Mhm.
directed
Mhm.
Aliens. David Fincher, famous director, did Alien 3. And I'd have to get the name of that Alien Resurrection director, but and then Fede Alvarez now has contributed with Alien and Romulus. Um, but yeah, Prometheus was sort of a departure for the franchise, but I thought it had some interesting ideas, and of course, it gave us the indelible Prometheus school of running away from things. If you've ever seen
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cinema
The
Sins.
giant like wheel that's going after them. I'm like, just run left or right. Don't run in a straight line, you idiots. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
not Charlize Theron's brightest moment on film.
No, but I
Um,
love her. So she's forgiven. Um, yeah, okay. Well, so I'm glad I'm now getting like
little,
the overarching like Alien franchise because yeah, clearly I'm mistaken. But what I love and what I think this Alien Romulus does well, and I kind of hope this continues for like future Alien movies, is that it is kind of set in its own story. Like it's just kind of a standalone within the Alien world, which I think works the best. I mean, like clearly Covenant, which is a sequel to Prometheus, didn't do super well. And even like the Alien movies, Alien 2 and 3, didn't hold up to the original Alien. I don't know. And I feel like Romulus kind of brings back it kind of draws back to like what the first Alien movie is like the feel of it and like you're in this you're in this ship and you're slowly being hunted by like the alien.
well,
Um
Alien and Aliens are, I think, by far the most revered of the series,
mhm.
but they are quite different stylistically, I guess. Um, would you say though you do definitely prefer kind of the um, tone and aesthetic of that original Ridley Scott Alien film?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do. And Romulus, it felt very much the same. So like those two, I definitely hold in high regard. And Prometheus, in a way, also felt very like Alien One. Oh, it's my cat's feet are going off. I don't know, just I do like the exploring of, the original alien, like the aliens world a little bit more. Like maybe we could do some planet hopping, but um yeah, I like the structure of Alien and Romulus the
yeah.
best
A lot of
so far.
people love the just full throttle action adventure style of Aliens. There's plenty of like horror, body horror and all those classic elements in that
Hmm.
Cameron film as well. But it is definitely the most action heavy of the films. Resurrection also has a lot of like guns and action
Yeah,
scenes.
which there weren't a lot of guns in this one. And I even remember, I think like Ridley Scott in the first movie, he was like, I didn't want a lot of guns. Like I think he was kind of anti-gun for for a minute. And then like the second and third, well, no, I think especially the third Alien, it was just like all guns. Just
The second one,
mowing down. Was the second one also pretty like, yeah, shooter heavy,
yeah, the Cameron
if I
one,
remember.
yeah, I mean, he has a couple characters that carry around, what would normally be mounted machine guns, but he has them attached. It's a brilliant system that they developed for that a weapon in that they kind of just invented this futuristic thing where they used the Steadicam boom and harness and
Hmm.
attached a belt-fed machine gun onto it. So these guys are walking around like commandos. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A lot of creative use of like technology, practical technology and things like that.
Which is great because that's sci-fi. I feel like the sci-fi genre does well when, you've got crazy guns and like energy pulsars and this and that, and
That
so
cool fog effect too, like the laser
mm,
screen
they
piercing.
brought that back.
Yeah.
I clocked it. I was like, I don't really know the point of it, but it looks cool.
Yes. A lot of this is kind of a bit fan servicey. I just think it's very well executed though. Like the story is
Yeah.
interesting. I was invested in everything that was going on. So like all the window
Mhm.
dressing that was familiar. didn't bother me, in the way that it would be like distracting, except for, there's kind of one major element that is perhaps a bit of like, whoa, that maybe does take me out of it a little bit, but other
What was that that took you out of it?
so the appearance and I didn't really mind it, but I thought it could have been executed a little better. Ash, Ian Holmes' character. So they resurrected basically deep fake,
Right.
via deep
He,
fake.
yeah. But so now was he a throwback to another character in another movie? Because I don't I don't
Yeah.
recognize him.
Yeah, if it's been a while since you've seen the original Alien,
Oh, he was in the original Alien.
he was the android. Yeah, in the original Alien. It was
Oh, it's been a while. Yeah, I clearly
yeah.
was like, I don't remember which. So this ship is supposed to be the original ship that they were all on in Alien.
It's Remus and Romulus, I guess, is the space station, or this
Oh, right, right.
it's a
Not a ship.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it can still travel through space, but it's more of like a command center module thing, or a research station or something. But it took in the remnant. I don't know. Somehow they found the remains of like the Nostromo from the original film and
Hmm.
the alien corpse, or I guess maybe it wasn't quite dead when they recovered it or something. But then they got a hold of the genetic material from the alien, were able to do a whole bunch of
Hmm.
experiments on the station, Romulus slash Remus. I guess maybe they're divided into two sections just for um, quarantine purposes. Maybe that's
Hmm.
the deal because of the science aspects of it. But yeah, and I don't know, the kind of interesting motifs surrounding like Greek and Roman mythology with the
Yeah.
films that they
Yeah.
used.
If I knew my mythology better, I probably would have clocked it. But um
The wolf, yeah, that raises the two uh, children, I guess.
yeah.
Does directly appear in the. Yeah, no, that the alien appearing from that original film kind of continuously, like the continuity of these films is kind of um it jumps around, shall I say, the timeline. The Alien
Hmm.
3, for example, is a lot different in tone from Alien 2, Aliens. So
Hmm.
it does harken back more to that original Alien where there is just one and it's attacking prisoners in a mining colony that's kind of been abandoned by society. It's really interesting. I love the thematic elements of Alien 3, but it is a really dark and depressing film, kind of germane to what, a lot of the subject matter that these films are kind of analogized, or they're an allegory for a lot of kind of darker uh I guess lurid aspects of human nature. And
Hmm.
that's kind of represented by like the works of H.R. Geiger. But I don't know, it's fascinating still philosophically, and a lot of interesting.
Hmm.
So there's still hope and everything. A lot of hopeful messages contained, but they're just painted in such stark contrast against kind of the dark background.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I've been kind of all over the place too, just wanting to get in some of this background info. But I'll throw to you now. Just yeah, like what stands out to you? So yeah, I mentioned the Ash thing. We'll get to that a little more, but I guess initially, what are your thoughts? Um, what were your thoughts going in and first watching Alien Romulus?
Yeah, going into it, I was just excited to have another sci-fi horror, works. I really love the horror genre as well, and I've actually been I recently watched like Long Legs and Cuckoo, and I was like, I feel like horror is getting really indie. So I was excited to just see like a monster a horror again. So I was really stoked going into it. And I didn't think it was like super scary. It was what I wanted. It was exactly what I wanted out of it. I love that, I love the sci-fi style that's not too clean and pretty. I think the original Alien, Ridley Scott wanted it to look like truckers in space. And I think I love that. I love the big buttons. Like, I just want everything in real life to be practical like that again. I mean, there's a scene where she's like trying to put on the spacesuit and she's freezing from, I think, like the cryo tube that she opened, and like, and it's like, oh, well, how is she gonna get that to work? She can barely function. Well, the spacesuit has only one giant red button that you have to click in order for it to work. So it should be pretty easy to navigate. And I don't know. I think it's just silly, and I love the style, and I as a girly who enjoys like thick keyboards and like clicky keys, I don't know. There was just like an ASMR aspect to the design that I
Yeah.
thought was just really appealing. And the colors, like, I don't know, orange and green, lots of like those two colors combined just feels very sci-fi to me. Um and the monsters were scary. I won't even talk about that last monster yet, because or the alien, I say monster because basically same thing. But uh yeah, and the characters were great. I do feel like the deaths, um, the first two happened really quickly. I don't know what you thought about, how the characters die. Classic Alien, like, yeah, everyone's gonna die basically except for your main character. I don't know if I should have said spoilers, but
Well, yeah, we can start
I
getting.
won't tell you who, but I think you kind of figure it out.
Well, yeah, they're the two characters who kind of, yeah, and I mean, you just have to, I don't know, strategize how you plan your kills throughout the film, and it there's no, I don't think, hard and fast rule. It's just
Mhm.
what feels appropriate to the script. I appreciated how it didn't feel like this movie was just trying to do things for the sake of being different. Sometimes you can
Mhm.
tell with the movie that it's just like, oh, we're doing this already, or this moment doesn't usually come at this point in the film, or it's, oh, instead of this, it's the reverse, and they're actually doing this. But yeah, sometimes it just feels like that's kind of a hacky,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the yeah, but I never got that sense really with this one. The early kind of instance of the character being um inflicted by the face hugger, and
Hmm.
that casualty resulting from that.
Yeah, that sort of spawns like the future events
Yeah,
for sure.
was the most unlikable character who got killed next by
Hmm. Hmm.
um the acid, which to me is like, I don't know, perhaps the worst way to get killed in an alien film is to get burned by the acid. I would
Oh
hate.
yeah, that was nasty. That was nasty. I mean, but
Oh,
also, I don't know, getting your chest like ripped open from an alien that's boring its way out of your body. That might be number one for
yeah,
worst ways in an
it
alien movie,
yeah,
but
it's understandable. Um,
or birthing a alien and then it eating you or something like that.
oh
That could
yeah.
be number two. But also I want to bring up births because uh I feel like, well, we can talk about this later and like the horror genre and trends, but I swear I feel like the past like several horror movies that I've seen within the last year or two, like 80% of them are about like births and so I don't know. Like why are we so hung up on like in horror, especially like the Antichrist being born and like aliens being born, or like cuckoo spoilers, but it's about kind of these creatures that are trying to procreate basically. But like I don't know. And then an alien, it's also just such a interesting um it's a big part of it. It's just like the female body has has a lot of sway in the horror genre. It's just not a good time to be a woman. Let's just say that. So
I don't
that's
know.
rip out your uterus now, because like you don't want to birth any antichrists or aliens anytime soon. So I don't know, just something that I've noticed and my friends have been talking about when
Yeah,
it comes to.
I've heard someone refer to it as yonic iconography, yonic or yonic, I guess referring to the female birthing anatomy. Gwyneth Paltrow in her Goop store has a thing called the yoni egg. Uh, Supposed to like
Oh,
massage
yeah.
the muscles down there. So,
Mm,
yeah. Uh, um, and I guess yeah, just the reproductive process, being
yeah.
such a object of you know understandable fascination because of just
Hmm.
how crazy it is that that
Well,
this is
and
our
but
life
I think
now.
it's just interesting how I feel like for women, it's definitely the one of the scarier things you can endure is like, okay, are you gonna die during death? What if your baby has issues? But like, what do men think about birthing scenes and horror? Like, are they traumatized? Because like I could see them being traumatized for other reasons, but like we haven't had kids, so probably aren't ones to say. But I I don't know. I'm like, are we trying to cater horror more to like the feminine audience? Like, I don't, or is it just
Hmm.
an easy trope to bring up? But
I think it's
like, what goes
helpful.
through your head as a
Well,
male perspective?
yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to involve men in the process as much as possible,
Yeah.
because otherwise they might be a little isolated from it. So getting to familiarize yourself with some of the complicated aspects of it as a guy, is probably good for building empathy towards
Right, right.
female
Yeah.
partners.
But you don't find it freaky, really. I mean, you
Well,
don't find it like
well,
horror.
there's a lot that can go wrong, and it's a good thing we've got, great, medical technology that has come into being in our modern times that allows it to go much more smoothly. But I think the complications will tend to arise much more frequently if you do go into it with tremendous trepidation and anxiety. And I think that kind of, it just translates throughout the body if you're feeling
Hmm.
tense and afraid and constantly, anxious about, what is going to happen with your body, things that are going on in the future, not being in the present moment. So you have to make sure you're going into this process, um, with a clear mind and sort of a placid consciousness. Uh,
Well,
but
I'm glad you're practical. I'm glad you have a very, you know, grounded state of mind for birth. So I'm terrified personally, but
well,
I'm glad we have men like you out there who can.
I'm just, I don't want people to be afraid of having kids because I mean that's how we, continue the species. And I think when
Right,
we
right.
are, yeah, we have a lot of luxuries in westernized societies, and you get a lot of, kind of. unfortunately, more misogynistic type voices, I think, talking about the decline in birth rate of Western civilizations that have experienced a lot of luxury, and they're lamenting, you know, this is the case. And it's just like, we don't need to look at it with such a, judgmental attitude or cast aspersions or anything, but just understand that, like, it is something that we're maybe less prone to think about now when we do experience such convenience in our lives, and the fact that the idea of having a child could be a source of tremendous inconvenience for somebody,
Hmm.
if you
Yeah.
don't approach it with the right perspective. But it's such a blessing for people who do experience it and do approach it, I think, the right way. Um,
Hmm.
and it's just such a, I mean, I'm so grateful for, being for my life. It's like that this is the only existence I've ever known. Um, so I'm glad that I've gotten the gift of being able to experience it, and you know
And also experience the movie Alien Romulus. So it all circles back.
exactly. I don't want people to be discouraged now from having kids just because it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, no,
adopting
no, no.
prospect.
No, no, no. It's
Even though,
it's
yeah,
just
I'm not
we
very
can
close.
joke about it.
Yeah.
No, right. I did joke with my husband afterwards. I was like, "So babe, if I ever birthed an alien, would you want to keep it?" And and he's like, "No." And I'm like, "What? Like, what if that's our child?" And he's like, "Well, it's not mine because I don't know. We were just it was
Uh,
you had to be there. It was really funny." And I was like, would you kill me too?" He's like, "Probably." Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, you should cut that out. No,
well,
no, no.
um, in
He's like, what if you were still, like had the alien seed within you? And I was like, oh, I don't know.
I enjoy thinking about, like, the cross contamination of genetics that occurs in this, and like how you're kind of melding a lot of different just weird ideas. And
Hmm.
I don't know, where does the line get drawn between um the body, the flesh, and the soul, and the consciousness, um,
Yeah.
DNA. It can be very malleable, especially with how these alien xenomorphs are, designed, or however they came to be. um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and like the way that they grow so quickly seems very fantastical. However,
Yeah.
I can easily explain why that would be the case, because you do see them sort of feeding off, like, the energy tube, perhaps the power lines on the ship, and like they're maybe basically photosynthesizing like a plant. They're absorbing CO2.
Um,
I think they're carbon-based life forms. So they're taking carbon from the air, from the atmosphere in the ship, and using that to build their body mass, basically, and then using the power from the ship to, you know,
that
accelerate
makes
the
sense.
process.
I did have one thought now that you brought it up that, we only see the alien molt like that one time. Like you saw the one little like baby molten body. I feel like it does seem like they just suddenly go from that size to like the bigger size. I kind of wish we would see like maybe multiple molting. Is that the right word? Molting when they like shed their
Yeah,
outer skin.
yep.
Like but instead they just kind of like molt once and then cocoon from what we understand. And I'm like,
Yeah, I think so.
I think it'd be so freaky to see like an alien ship um just littered in like molten alien shells and like ugh, I don't know. Like maybe they
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they get birth. Well, yeah, there's the cocoon thing that I think is yeah, once the uh,
Because they got the one first little guy came
yeah.
out of her body, and then you
Right.
saw
And
it
then
was shed. Yeah.
yeah, the cocoon is like feeding off of the pipes on the ship, basically, and
Mhm.
and then at the end, we'll just spoil
Yeah.
the
We've already
hybrid.
talked about birthing like for
And
an hour, so
this borrows heavily from the fourth Alien film, Alien Resurrection. The director, by the way, the name Jean-Pierre uh, Jeunet, um, and and in that film there is a alien human hybrid. It's really freaky looking. It's called the Newborn, and there's another sort of newborn here, although the appearance is more derived from the architect or the engineer,
engineers, yeah.
yeah, from Prometheus, and then the xenomorph. It's like an engineer crossed with the xenomorph. I'm seeing the actor here even has a headshot, Robert Paprotsky. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, he's a basketball player. I don't know where from, but maybe
yeah,
it says
Eastern
on.
Europe somewhere,
Yeah, yeah.
Romania. So,
Oh, that makes sense.
so
Yeah.
born in the year 2000 in Romania. Yeah, his face looks very kind of Romanesque.
Yeah.
There's an ad
Yeah,
from the American
the
Express card right beneath it, and it's like, yeah, I see the result.
I do love how closely resembling the Prometheus engineer aliens this alien that she birthed was, because it's like, yeah, so she injected herself with that like black goo-like thing that you saw the first alien drink. I still don't understand the origin of it necessarily. Because if the engineer, in Prometheus, where xenomorphs created yet, and then he drank that black goo, and this is where I probably need a like Wikipedia deep dive, you know, who created xenomorphs? Where do they, are they, do they come from the body of engineers? Anyway, I don't know. I'm
Yeah, if you take the
a little
events of
lost.
Prometheus and Alien Covenant, literally it does sort of conflict with other established lore. But what I think you have to do is understand that I think this xenomorph genome is something that can be riffed on. It can be sort of manipulated in various ways. And I think at the root, there is sort of the prototypical xenomorph that was engineered to be like this perfect um, species, this perfect organism capable of, surviving in harsh environments. It's got these crazy defense mechanisms just innately built in. It's the DNA is very malleable, so that like in Alien Resurrection, spoiler alert, Sigourney Weaver, she's brought back from the dead basically, but because she had an alien inside of her at one point, they're also able to bring back the alien DNA because
Hmm.
it had interspliced with her DNA.
Oh.
Yeah, so they had a sample of
Mm.
her DNA from back when she worked for the Wayland Yutani Corporation.
Oh, right.
Or actually, so between Aliens and Alien 3, she gets impregnated with xenomorph, um, while she's in this capsule, the escape
The
craft.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a tragic thing that happens between the two films, and then crash lands on this prison colony. And then when they take the sample of her, you know, blood and DNA and stuff for examination on this prison colony, I think that's what later gets used in Alien Resurrection, and that had, the
Mm.
alien DNA intermixed with that. So it's very kind of far-fetched, but it's just the xenomorph DNA is so invasive that it just infiltrates everything and
Oh, gotcha.
can be
Yeah.
spun out. And then you see Michael Fassbender's character. He does a whole bunch of experiments with it, and it seems like he creates the xenomorph in its full form in Alien Covenant. However, he might have just been deriving it from previous template.
Mm, yeah. I really loved the scene where, they're experimenting on um like the mouse or something, and they're talking about how this genome, it's like this could like cure the human race, and then but then it like turns into a deformed, like creepy black alien looking thing. And I like I as much as I love just like typical xenomorph, that's your monster, and then you got the face huggers, like you have these recognizable aliens in the Alien franchise. I kind of hope if they do make either a sequel to Romulus or just like another film within the timeline, because I don't think we see the main character get rid of those samples. I don't remember her like tossing them off the ship, or maybe they were in the like hangar bay when she released it. But it would be really cool to see some more like xenomorph mixed with like other creatures, like even on Earth or something. It's like Jurassic Park, where like we're bringing the the dinosaurs to America. It's like, what if the alien, like what would happen if like there was just like this race of xeno, and then whatever that animal is, like, I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah,
it'd be really fun design and character like creation
yeah,
for.
I think the she does have the samples with her, so that'll probably come into play in a later film potentially.
Yeah.
And that was what kind of allowed her to escape, even I think, because she was communicating with like, wasn't she communicating with someone from Wayland Yutani to try to activate like the shuttlecraft and
Well, the
or
synth was like, "Hey, put me on autopilot. Thank you for like taking the thing." And then she like had it on autopilot, and then at the very end, she was like, "JK,
yeah.
I'm now taking over this craft." So, but yeah, now I'm trying to remember if like then when she went to the cryo chamber, did she have to change it back to autopilot? I don't. Yeah, I don't really remember.
I
But I
think
don't remember seeing her get rid of it.
she would have she rerouted the ship to go to that one planet they were
Oh
originally
yeah.
to go to, and that had complications because the robot guys, the synth Andy, um, would potentially not be allowed to live there because
Right, right.
him being a
But she's gonna try. She was gonna
yeah,
try anyway. I
I would think
hope he lives.
hopefully, well, yeah, hopefully they're not a bunch of jerks on this planet and
Yeah. Yeah.
completely anti. I don't know. I suppose there's plenty of justification, perhaps, for people being racist against since
I
species.
know. I
A
know. What do we think about the like synth sympathy in this movie? I mean, I loved Andy's character. I think he shone, but like that actor also just like shone the brightest out of all of them. I think he like
yeah,
swept them all away.
give him an
Um,
Oscar. Jeez.
yeah, he was absolutely incredible. I loved him so much, and just his relationship with the main character, who now I'm like, I don't even remember her name because
Rain.
everyone else, Rain, yeah, everyone else is just kind of like forgettable except for Andy. Um and yeah, it's just interesting. We really got to see like, I don't think we've seen this in other Alien movies yet, but you could really see how other characters react to synths. You've got Rain, who really cares for him. He's like a brother to her. And then the one character that we didn't really like, who was like, yeah, synth basically, killed my mom, so that's why I hate synths. Um,
Yeah.
and then everyone else is like, well, he doesn't matter. Like he's not real, so it doesn't really matter if he dies. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It was interesting, especially in a world where AI is becoming more prevalent, to really like have sympathy now for a synth character I don't think we've really seen much elsewhere, yet in a while, in a
Uh,
while.
Such a fascinating topic, and I'm sure it's been explored to death throughout a lot of literature, and that's just not something that's really my core competency, unfortunately. I've read some great sci-fi literature. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K.
Yeah.
The Blade Runner novel. Um,
Hmm.
Great. It's short. I recommend anyone read it. But so that explores that subject. Isaac Asimov, I believe, has the three rules of artificial intelligence. You know, a robot shall not, harm a human. A robot shall protect human, and robot should protect itself as long, and then each one is superseded by the prior one. And in this case, like the synths, they cannot directly harm humans, or they're programmed not to. But
Hmm.
if they're faced with like a trolley problem where saving,
The greater good.
yeah, more saving a dozen results in killing, a couple just dying from being left behind in the mine
Hmm.
shafts.
Yeah, that was the character's mom's situation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he makes the same calculation here. He saves himself and two others by basically allowing one of the characters to get, taken by the xenomorph. So it's cool to
Hmm.
see that circle back around in the plot.
Hmm.
And I like
Yeah.
the element of him getting the upgrade. It was kind of cool to see him functioning, at full capacity. However, that then, screwed with his personality to the point where he was
Hmm.
more cold towards the humans, but not totally. Like he wasn't totally, like you weren't sure to what extent he still had
Yeah.
loyalty
He
to.
just had a different directive. He just needed to get the the black goo,
Yeah.
back to headquarters, but he still had to protect humans, which was like, that's cool. I'm glad his directive never was hostile ever.
Yeah.
It just like he just slightly shifted to be a little less sympathetic, which or a little less yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Yeah.
he was just the directive of protecting Rain, which was, and he had a lot of custom programming input by Rain's father,
Hmm.
specifically look after her. So that got kind of superseded by this new directive from this chip that she inserts into him. And
Which really to me means that, machines are can be helpful, machines can be good in the hands of the right people. Like yeah, like her dad clearly knew how to make this machine work and he has done a good job and has been taking care of Rain. And then you get the corporation side of things and it's like yeah, maybe we all need to learn how to program AI so that if we need to reroute the directive that one of these corporations gives our AI, we can change
okay.
it. I don't know.
But my lack of reading up on the subject, actual books, is somewhat compensated by like my viewing films on the subject. Have you seen The Creator, the film from Gareth Edwards, came out last year?
Yes, yes. And I have to because oh yeah, the like kid is kind of like a little cyborg
It
thing.
imbues, yeah, it imbues artificial intelligence with spirituality, which is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes perfect sense to me because these beings are purely a reflection of their creators, humans. They're programmed to be just as intelligent as we are, basically. So they're
Mm-hmm.
going to only do what, you know, their programmers, their creators, I mean, not
Yeah.
intentionally or unintentionally design them to do. So if they react in an adverse way, it's because they were built with certain attributes that reflect humans' darker nature. And you see that
Yeah.
in the way that like the Western countries just they completely clam up, um, shut down against any, further AI development. And there's that complete, hostile a approach towards the subject, from like the US and stuff. But in Eastern countries, they're more holistic and they
Yeah.
understand that like these robots, they can be they can coexist with humans if we adopt a posture of, non-hostility, non-resistance to them because
Hmm.
they're going to respond in the same way. Uh, I don't know. And I think that is inevitably like what would happen. Their AI isn't necessarily going to be hostile unless it is imbued with a certain, hostile nature that it's seen.
Yeah, yeah. With whatever intention that the creator, the programmer gives it, which I think in yeah. We see time and time again it's like these ruling either corporations or political entities
Mhm.
typically always have not the greater good in mind,
Yeah, that's the
which is just
thing. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Well, if they're reflecting these institutions that have, improper motives, then yeah, it's not going to be good. And how do we
Um,
prevent that from happening?
yeah, how do we
Yeah,
yeah, how do we prevent that? Which I we
yeah,
will see, I guess. It'd be interesting to see if we live in a lifetime where, we do have um like like I don't know, AI since like working alongside us. I mean, we see it on our computers and on our phones and but, not so
yeah.
much out there in the world otherwise. So,
Well, it's definitely going to be regulated heavily, I think, at some point. I think they're just going to want to curb the potential of AI to act
mhm.
on its own and, its processing capabilities, things like that. Um, j just, yeah, for the sake of simplicity and so that these things don't go rogue, just unpredictably. I think that's like, people regard Star Wars as like low sci-fi, but I'm kind of the opposite, where this is a civilization where science has advanced to such a point where humanoids can shape it to suit their characteristics. So, ships move like airplanes because humanoid occupants would rather they do that than crazy, like, full three-dimensional range of motion, um, that is possible in zero G environment, or like, maybe they are capable of perceiving sound in space through the technology built into the ships, or um, the artificial intelligence. There was a point in the Star Wars universe where it advanced so greatly that it did cause a lot of problems. So now they've tempered it. They've capped off the potential for droids to possess, um, organic qualities, so that
Mhm.
they don't, cause issues related to like,
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
yeah, that's
but
true.
so like things like that. So I think we'll see similar things in our world where, we'll develop our technology to sync up with our practical needs, and make it
Hmm.
so it's more organic seeming, and that also with like the designs, the very tactile nature, like the keys and just very simplified tech, even like the cathode ray style uh, monitors and things like that. Like who knows, maybe that's something that's more desirable aesthetically to humans, even though it seems retrograde in a fashion.
Mm. I would rather desire some
Yeah.
retro AI blocky robots. Like, I don't know. I find that to be really appealing. I don't know. Because then you keep hearing like this term, especially on TikTok, because I'm on it all the time, but uncanny valley. Have you heard that term?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Basically, something looking too realistic, but it's clearly not. And I think like we're realizing that we don't like that. Like we don't we don't like things to look too realistic. Otherwise, it just gives off this like really creepy but perturbing feeling, or it's so I want it to look as unlike realistic as possible because then it just fills me with unease.
You're on the West Coast, and Elliot is from the um, San Francisco Valley, and probably
Yeah.
a lot of connections to Silicon Valley and stuff. And the tenor there is everything is all about AI now, and the enthusiasm towards developing AI, and that's where a lot of the value in stock prices are, being levied. However, there is like no enthusiasm from the consumer market for AI
No,
generally.
yeah.
Yeah, we're very skeptical of it as so like there's this huge contrast in priorities. And that's going to be very interesting to see, what happens with these big tech companies who comprise just such a huge share of the economic um, system in the
Hmm.
United States and the developed countries. Like they're banking so heavily on this one technology that most of us just don't want anything to do with. But I think
Mm-mm.
if they are just very strategic in how they implement it, there are ways in which it can be beneficial whilst not being, yeah, disturbing.
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Speaking and
yeah.
then like the effect of the deep fake, I thought was kind of obvious and
That was very Uncanny Valley. No,
yeah.
sorry, I
No,
didn't mean
no,
to
go.
talk over you, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember that was some thing that we said exactly was like, oh, I don't know, the synth Ash, like his look was very Uncanny Valley, and like, yeah, now these deep fakes in movies, it's just like, it's just
Well,
not real. It's just slightly off. Something is slightly off, and it's just, oh, it's creepy.
so that's an effect that has been done in previous. Well, this resurrecting of a very damaged android has been done in previous
Mm.
films, and it's often very cool how they do it. They'll either do like animatronic or have a creative way in which the actor is able to like stick his head or body up from a hole in the ground or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
they
clearly they did that, right? Like his body was halfway through. But the problem was the actor isn't young anymore. They had to like de-age him.
he's dead. Ian Holm.
Oh, he's
So
dead. Oh my
different
gosh, I
actor on set.
forgot.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Bilbo.
So that's interesting. I didn't realize that that actor was dead. How did I not know?
Bilbo Baggins.
Oops. I
Well,
know Bilbo. I forgot about that. Oh no.
it was so
Not
weird too
Bilbo.
because yeah, the Corridor Digital on YouTube just released a video where they do their own deep fake over the Ian Holm performance of Bilbo in the Hobbit films, and they're
Mm,
kind of giving him all new dialogue that they're creating for this parody. And the way the mouth moves is very uncanny and
oh,
hilariously so. And they admit
okay.
they recognize that in the video that this is just a parody and supposed to be off-putting. But here is like, oh, I'm seeing kind of the same technique being applied, but in an actual big budget, so that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Plus, he's supposed to be this robot, so like they should have just had an
Just make a robot. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like a malfunctioning, because they could have made, not a super high quality, like, yeah, mechanized like face. And then, his eyes are moving, his mouth is moving. But like, I think we could have all believed it because also the ship is older and And they could have like tore a chunk out of his face or something just to like show that he's not working properly. And I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, why didn't they do that?
That was that's the I don't know, one of the highlights of Alien 3, the very same concept of this damaged android being brought back to life, and he's just so ravaged by the Queen Alien
Mm.
from the previous film. Lance Henriksen plays Bishop, and
Oh
they
yeah, I
bring
know.
him back for Alien 3 for one scene, and he's just got the milky fluid just kind of spewing from caked all over, and yeah, his face is all,
Oh yeah.
and it's purely,
Uh,
yeah, it's all animatronic, it's all robotics for this one performance, and but it looks so
oh,
good.
it looks good.
It's
What
very
the heck?
disturbing,
Yeah. I think that I would have had, yeah,
but
I
in the
would
right
have.
way, disturbing in the right way, I should say, because it looks like a damaged piece of technology.
Well, and what I love about synths is like even when they're damaged, they still kind of feel very humanoid. I mean, milk, creamy substance coming out. It's like, oh, it's not blood, but for some reason it's just still so disturbing, like this milky substance. So I like that he still kind of looks very humanoid in his
Yeah.
in this. I'm like looking at pictures on Google because I'm like, wait, what does he look like
Yeah.
in?
And
That's
in
really
the
good.
in the original
Mhm.
Alien, Ash gets decapitated, and his they stick his head just on the table.
Oh
And they're
yes.
speaking to him. It's Ian Holm sticking his head up from under the
Uh-huh.
table. And that's kind of cool how they accomplish that. But they do also have a pure prosthetic of the head that it switches to when he's deactivated, and it looks kind
Mm.
of fakey, like very waxy. It's very like old 70s traditional practical prop art. Uh,
Right, right.
but
Yeah.
it's fun. It's so kind of charming in how
Mm.
rudimentary it is. But then, okay, here's the greatest example of this effect that's ever been done, which is
Mm.
with the actor by the name of Michael Wincott. And you'll recognize him. Did you see the movie Nope by chance? Jordan.
Uh, I did, although I don't think I remember watching the whole thing because I
Okay.
might have fallen asleep.
Well, we used to watch that Three Musketeers film a lot as a kid. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I do.
so the eye patch guy with the deep, gravelly voice. He's
Oh.
been in a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But he plays this animatronic in Westworld. I don't know if you remember from like the first season of Westworld. One of
I never like got into it for some reason.
I
I don't
only
know.
watched like the first two seasons. Anthony Hopkins is this inventor, and he created the hosts who occupy they're the denizens of Westworld. These also synthetic humans. But the original ones were a lot more animatronic looking and
Mm.
construct this performance that is like CGI augmented, portrayed by Michael Wincott, who already is just such this charismatic, like very distinctive actor. Playing this
Oh.
gruff old Western character, and the way he moves, it's just such the perfect blend between natural, but also that stiff kind of
Oh.
artificial animatronic. And it's so cool how they accomplish that. Uh,
Yeah, I want to watch that now because yeah, when a human can portray uh animatronic well, that's really cool. And that's why I think like Andy, he worked that character worked really well too because he's like he his face kind of looks like it's maybe not fully functioning. Like he kind of has like droopier eyes and like even his mouth kind of has a quirk to it. Um, and yeah, you just really can get that he's like, oh, he's not human. He's a synth, even though we never see like any of his mechanics working and so that's cool.
discovers
I'd have to
the
watch a video of Old Bill. Is that his character in Westworld? The
Oh, Michael Wincott.
Michael,
Yeah,
yeah, or no, old, yeah. I'll have to like look that
it's
up.
probably he's only in like a couple scenes from what I recall, and so
Mm,
it's probably easy to look up on YouTube. But yeah, I love this guy. Jody and I talked about the movie Nope recently, and
Mm.
yeah, it was just fun, kind of reminiscing because he's been just such a mainstay of a lot of classic, childhood favorites like Three Musketeers and um, Robin Hood, Count of Monte Cristo. He was also in movies like The Crow, Alien Resurrection. He was in, so yeah, just uh,
Whoa. Okay, I did look it up on YouTube while you're talking about him, and wow. He's like drinking from a cup, and he like just does those like slow fluid movements. Man, that's really cool. I like that. Wait, I kind of want them to do that in an alien movie, like have a synth that's just kind of like
Mhm.
functioning like an older model. Ooh,
Yeah. So
creepy.
all that to say, like,
Anyway, yeah.
I think they could have nailed that Ash performance just by
Yeah.
making it look more robotic because it
Yeah.
looked like they were trying to go for a natural human face when since he's an android, they could have just made him jitter more and
They didn't need it. They
yeah.
didn't need that de-age deep fake. Like it was very unnecessary and just kind of I think that took me out for sure, like of the film a little bit.
Yeah, I guess they got it cleared with like his estate, his family and stuff. They were cool with it, and I guess he even felt a little bit isolated from Hollywood in some of his later years. He struggled to find work apparently, and just so it was like, um, this was a nice kind of send off for him, according to his either the widow or one of his children or something. So they were kind of happy with it, but yeah, I think it could have been executed a little better. But overall, whatever. It's just kind of fun to talk about this being kind of a podcast where we talk about visuals and animation. And, so it's the one thing that inspired the reason why I want to talk about this film, along with things like, oh, how do the aliens grow so fast? It's like, oh, well, I
Yeah.
makes sense. And at the end, too, the infant, the newborn, it's
Oh,
in
right.
birthed in this container, the shipping container with coal dust. So carbon from the coal dust maybe could have
Oh.
been consumed by this alien newborn
Yeah.
to grow so.
Now, with that um creature, we don't ever see it like in a cocoon or like we don't see its like molten stages, but it does get birthed as kind of an egg. It was like
Oh,
hatched,
yeah.
kind of, which I thought was interesting. Um,
Reminiscent of the scene in Prometheus when, um, oh gosh, uh, whatever her name was,
the main, yeah, why are the
Numi,
main
sorry, Numi
chicks?
Rapace. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Elizabeth Shaw, she performs
Oh,
that.
Shaw.
Yeah,
Right.
C-section.
Right. Oh gosh. Terrifying.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a fascinating franchise where there's just a lot of symmetry. Things flow together nicely. There's a lot of just things kind of um, uh, naturally harkening back and calling back to previous things, and it's a very cohesive, I think, um, franchise in certain ways. Like the Alien versus Predator stuff isn't designed to necessarily fit. That's more just kind of its own thing. But even if they wanted to incorporate the Predator character within the Alien franchise, I mean, I wouldn't be super opposed to it. They had that film Prey, which went over well with audiences on Hulu
Mm.
recently, and there are going to be follow-ups to that. So maybe they'll cross over at some point. But overall, I think there's a lot of fun interconnectedness. And like this franchise is all about interconnectedness of biology, philosophy, um, and how humans kind of understand the world. Uh,
Hmm.
and yeah,
I love it.
yeah, H.R. Geiger and his fascination with, um, well, basically reproduction,
Bodies,
the human body and reproduction and things like that.
the
Yeah.
peni. No, I'm just kidding. Oh wait, let's talk about the xenomorph popcorn bucket and how well it fits with the Dune popcorn bucket. No, I'm just kidding.
Perfect compliment to
So
each other.
you're not a TikTok, but someone did put it in there and it fits. So
I haven't seen the xenomorph. I have to research
okay,
it.
yeah, the xenomorph popcorn bucket is just like the head and like the one end, not the face end. It just looks like,
Okay.
the tip of a penis.
All
And
right.
someone took the popcorn bucket and fit it into the Dune
I'm looking at
worm
this.
mouth.
I'm looking at this right now. Alien Romulus, alien head popcorn container. And yeah, I mean it's the head of a xenomorph. It's kind of a impressive sculpt for a piece of merch. Um,
Yeah, no, it looks a lot of people
yeah,
are getting it just for the
like collectible.
collectability of it. It
Uh,
is really well done. But I just love it that the two sci-fi movies that have like big franchise sci-fi movies that have come out, their popcorn buckets go together.
oh, it couldn't be more perfect. Yeah, Dune
I
also
don't, not intentionally, I'm sure, but
a good reference for this film. If you haven't seen
yeah.
Dune films, like there's some, I guess, similarities in a way. Um, but yeah, very, very fun. Obviously the pacing of this is very different to something that's much more kind of slow and contemplative like Doom, but also kind of, plenty of action set pieces and epic scale with those Doom films, but also here it's much more intimate and isolated. So yeah, just I'm fascinated by anything where there you see a lot of interconnectivity and internal referencing and in a way that doesn't feel forced or hacky or overly fan servicey. There was the moment where he says, "Get away from her," and I was like, "Yeah, cool." He just calls back to that classic quote from Aliens, where Sigourney Weaver says, "Get away from her, you bitch." It's just the alien.
Oh,
But in this one, I thought they were just sort of hinting at it with Andy, the synth, saying, "Get away from her," because that's just a natural thing you would say. But then he stutters immediately after he kills the xenomorph. He stutters out the words, "You bitch." So
oh, funny. I didn't catch that, but
there,
I love it.
yeah, that seemed a little too on the nose because, like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't know that that was something that was said previously. He's just coming up with
Yeah.
that on his own. Um, but it happens to be verbatim what was said in the previous film, and it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
you could make it a little more subtle. So some things were very subtly referenced, and other things just maybe a little too, you know, um, ostentatious.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you want to hit on. This has been very fun because there were a lot of things I wanted to point out from this film, fun stuff. I have not yet watched the Red Letter Media. I'm a big fan of them on
Mm.
YouTube. They covered this film, but I thankfully held off on watching their video before. I wanted to be a little more fresh with you, not
Yeah.
my thoughts spoiled by other people. Um,
Although I love their inputs. I do love, yeah.
Yeah, they could be very cynical, and I can disagree with them, 99% on something, but still appreciate their take because I think they're
Hmm.
insightful and hilarious. Most importantly, I think they're just brilliant comedians over there on
Hmm.
their channel, Red Letter Media. So that's why I stick with them, even if I don't necessarily agree with stuff that they have to say. All right,
That's
well,
all
yeah.
right.
What else, Samara, can I glean from?
No,
Yeah.
I think that's all of it. I mean, I could say there was one thing that I have an issue with, and this is just Hollywood in general. It's just, I feel like we're in a in a timeline right now where a lot of movies are just throwbacks. Like we saw that with the recent Star Wars trilogy. Like the first movie just felt like fan service. Um, Spider-Man, like all the multiverses. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was just so much fan service. And I'm like, when are we gonna stray away from that? And Alien Romulus again is kind of like very fan servicey, but I think they did it well and tastefully, so I wasn't super frustrated um by it the whole time, just like, oh, come on, like,
Um,
oh, he said that, or like, oh, look at that from the old film. Um,
because the character,
so
yeah, we actually genuinely, I think, you know, I mean, you said you weren't all that compelled by Rain necessarily, or
not necessary. I know. I think her character just felt a little bland. I mean, everyone, what I do appreciate is that she like didn't turn out to be like the most badass person ever. She still was just like kind of bumbly and like,
Mhm.
how do I get this thing to work? And I'm making stupid decisions. And I'm like, yeah, okay,
And
that's
she,
cool.
yeah,
But
she was complex in that she was willing to leave Andy behind when going to
mm,
this new planet. Like she wasn't going to fight too hard to keep him
yeah.
beside her, even though she referred to him as her brother and everything. Like she had her own sort of darker um, tendencies that she was struggling against, but which was later counterbalanced by like her sacrificing herself potentially to go back and save Andy at one point. So
Mm,
another good callback to you know something that was proposed earlier in the film. Yeah, so just so many good kind of A to B narrative.
mm.
Um,
Plot wise, great storytelling. I think it just had a perfect flow. I don't have any other like issues with it, like story wise. I think just like franchising in general and
yeah.
fan service, it is like my, sometimes my biggest critique within movies these days. Like I did you see Deadpool versus
I
Wolverine?
so it
I
enjoyed.
disliked it so I just it frustrated me so much. I'm sorry.
No, I
But
enjoyed it like I would going to a stand-up comedy show. Like some of the humor
sure.
was, I was able to laugh
Yeah.
in the moment at a lot of the jokes. I think my favorite joke was probably when um, Deadpool references the slap moment. You know, keep my country's name out of your
Oh yeah,
mouth.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, like the Will Smith. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep my wife's name.
keep my.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
just I'm just so tired of movies that are like, let's bring this character back and like let's bring this back and like I don't know, just to get a rise out of people, and I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Maybe that's just me being a hater, but
Oh, it was bizarre. Just the elements that they just it turned into like a weird salad, and yeah,
a
Channing
weird salad
Tatum.
and also kind of makes you feel like an outsider if you're not big into that franchise. You're almost like,
Yeah,
wait, I feel like I'm being bullied by popular kids who have inside jokes right now. Like, I don't know, like some childhood trauma just like came out and I was like, I hate this because everyone else is laughing at this one thing or they're like pointing at this character and being like, "Oh my God, it's that person." But I'm not in on it, so I hate it. Like I
yeah.
so
Call
I
back to
don't
some
know.
of those Fox that didn't fly so well, the Elektra and
Which I do like
Daredevil.
Electra,
Yeah,
but I was
yeah.
like, Blade, I've never seen a Blade movie. I didn't get the whole
Channing
Channing
Tatum. He
Tatum's
was rumored to play Gambit at one.
Gambit.
I
I
was
don't keep
hoping.
up with this stuff.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd bring back Colin Farrell. He played a similar character to Gambit, I think, who also would throw playing cards, but he played Deadshot,
Mm,
a character known for his accuracy in the comics. It's Deadshot. Um,
mm.
so I would have been thrilled to see him come back to the Marvel Universe, just because
Yeah.
I like Colin Farrell. Um,
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. He's good. So
yeah,
anyway, those
yeah.
are my my only comments. And then just Hollywood in general. Please, hopefully none of my coworkers will see this and fellow creatives, but I've been so for like Hollywood's been canceling all the shows that I like,
Yeah.
and Disney just had their recent expo and they were like Moana 2, Toy Story 5, I'm just
Oh, grind.
I'm
Well,
over
I
it.
I don't watch a ton of TV, but I am genuinely excited for the Penguin series. Speaking of Colin Farrell, I think that'll be, like, I really enjoyed the Robert Pattinson Batman film.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
it was Colin
Yeah.
Farrell as the Penguin in that, and I'm interested in this new spin-off. So like, amongst my limited TV viewing, I plan on carving out time for that, which is saying something. But yeah,
Mm,
everything is derivative now, and I don't know.
yeah.
There'll
Everything,
always be original
yeah.
ideas.
There will be. There will be. They're out
But
there.
you just got to find those hidden flames.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. But oh
yeah.
well.
Well,
But I
well,
loved
cool.
Alien. It was great. Good time.
I'll have you on to talk the next Ari Aster film, or Jordan
Oh,
Peele, or
but I don't know. I haven't been watching all the Ari Aster
I haven't
films
seen Beau is
lately.
Afraid yet. No,
Yeah, I just kind of heard
so
mixed
long.
feelings, and
Yeah,
it's long. But if you want to talk any like weird indie horror movies, I'm super down because
yeah.
I've been like more impressed by horror lately than I have as far as like original ideas go than anything
Uh,
else that's
well,
kind of come out.
I remember just being floored in the theater, seeing Hereditary. Like, I loved it. And
Hmm.
we were actually together when we saw Midsummer. But
Hmm.
I mean, it'd be fun to have you on to talk about Hereditary. I have to give that a rewatch because I have only
I
seen.
would too because I remember Hereditary not I feeling a bit underwhelmed by Hereditary, even though I know a lot of people love it. But Midsommar, I really liked that, but only on my second watch. Like I think Hereditary and Midsommar maybe similar feelings where the first watch I was just for Hereditary underwhelmed, Midsommar grossed out. Second watch for Midsommar, I was like, ooh, wow, yeah, actually I really like this film. So
Okay.
I'm
I
eager to do
found it.
this.
Yeah, I found Hereditary just scintillating upon my first viewing.
Mm,
But maybe I
yeah.
was just in a good mood that, especially.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just I don't know, in a bad mood.
No, I'm sure I would
Very
enjoy it a
typical.
lot, or seeing it again, but
Yeah.
who knows if it'll be quite the same. And
Hmm.
I feel like I'm now able to better appreciate and pick out like little fine details in every film that I watch nowadays, even films that are traditionally like panned, dogs, according to popular consensus. I can
Mm.
usually find something to enjoy about them. Like, one recent movie I watched that I thought was like so bad it's good was the movie Geely with Ben Affleck and
Hmm.
um
Geely? What
yeah, oh
is
gosh.
that?
What's his were they married? I'm blanking because I'm flagging right now, but um
Is this an older film?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, 2003. And that's with Jennifer
Jennifer
Lopez?
Lopez, yeah.
Whoa.
And
Wow.
where
I
they
think they're
first,
getting a divorce now, so
yeah, it's been
that's
really weird with
interesting.
them. Got terrible reviews. It was supposed to be this big kind of drama, or sort of dramedy between these two romantic characters, but yeah,
Huh.
didn't come off it. And there's a weird, like, um, person with, developmentally disabled performance by uh, Justin Bartha, who's you know he's in the sidekick in National Treasure. The dork.
Oh, yep.
He
Oh.
plays a guy who's got kind of like
Oh.
physical or mentally handicapped in this. So it's a wild performance. Uh,
Wow.
but yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
It was just interesting to see, movies that people say are terrible, and still being able to like, it I can kind of laugh at it regardless. Um,
Yeah.
all
Nice.
right. Well, thank you, Samara, for joining me on the
Yeah.
podcast conversations about animation. Yeah, we went for an hour and a half or so, so good amount of time to chat about some movies and great catching up with you. So thank you so
I
much.
know, it's been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to share on any social media or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, I'm just on like Instagram. I've been making some TikToks recently. So I'm on TikTok. I think I'm just Samara Mitchell
Yeah.
on both of those, but you probably won't find me on TikTok because I have like 75 followers.
All right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah, that's it.
Podcast. Yeah.
Much.
Podcast.com if you want to search us on socials and at Podcast. And I'm at Philip Elke on various platforms. And so, yeah, thank you for listening and sticking with us on this little chat about alien and sci-fi. And yeah, Samar, it's so great to hear from you. It's sorry to hear that things been a little dry for you work-wise, but I'm sure it's nice to have a
Yeah.
bit of a break. And do you have anything on the horizon that you'll be working on soon, or
No,
you'll
not much. Yeah, I've sort of been trying to make like a slight career change within the film industry. So, um, I'm hoping like I've had some offers. Actually, someone reached out to me about a Ben and Matt movie. Um, but I would have been art coordinating, which is not what I want to be doing anymore. I want to start doing graphic design for film and TV. So, hoping that there will be some doors opened.
Mhm.
But right now, Hollywood is just kind of, it's just slow in general right now. So,
And I guess
yeah.
to invoke Superman, I hope this movie hasn't put you off potentially giving birth in the future.
Oh my God, no.
After all, it is
No,
the most common way in which the human species has been allowed to continue
that is true.
throughout its
That is
history.
true.
I can't necessarily think of any others. In vitro fertilization is sort of a new development, but still requires a birthing process.
Yeah.
It's weird in the Superman franchise, you get the told in Man of Steel, like on Krypton, natural births are a thing of the past. Like they've relegated that whole process to technology, which was possibly something we would do if we had the choice. You know,
I mean, yeah, probably.
that's kind of
Oh,
unfortunate. I mean, the more we get dissociated from our original biology, I think that comes with various unforeseen consequences. But
mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
I'll stop getting all hippy dippy and we'll sign off here. But
All right.
thank you so much. I'll stop the
Yeah, thanks
recording
for
now.
having me.
Yeah, and so yeah, as we say here on the podcast, conversations about animation. May you all have a magical day, a wonderful week, warm hugs, especially face hugs. All right.